The rain had just stopped falling over the glittering skyline of New York City when Ethan Cole, the CEO of one of America's fastest-growing tech companies, stepped into his penthouse apartment. The city lights danced across the floor-to-ceiling windows, reflecting a life that seemed perfect. But in truth, it was empty. His success had come at the cost of his happiness. Behind the tailored suits, board meetings, and polite smiles was a man who had lost the warmth of family love and connection. His wife had passed away years ago, leaving him with a son he barely had time to know. The boy, 7 years old, spent his days with the nanny, a quiet, kind-hearted woman named Lily Hayes. Lily had joined the household a year earlier, recommended by an agency for her gentle nature and remarkable patience. She was 27, a woman with dreams far bigger than her paycheck allowed, working double shifts just to pay off her mother's medical bills. Yet, despite her hardships, she carried a rare light, the kind that could turn any ordinary moment into something warm. She never complained, never asked for anything, and treated Ethan's son Noah like her own. She taught him to read, to paint, and to laugh again, something he hadn't done much since his mother's death. But for Ethan, life had become mechanical. He'd see Lily only in passing, a polite nod in the hallway, a brief thank you before rushing off to his next meeting. He never noticed how tired she looked at the end of the day, how she skipped her own meals to make sure Noah had enough, or how she quietly replaced the flowers in the apartment every Monday just to make the place feel alive. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and love that finds its way through pain, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe. It really helps more people find these heartfelt stories. It was on one quiet evening in December, 2 days before Ethan's birthday, when everything changed. He came home. Late, as usual, the elevator doors opening to an empty apartment. Noah was asleep. The lights were dim, but something on the kitchen table caught his eye. A small folded card next to a slice of cake covered in plastic wrap. The handwriting on the envelope was delicate, almost hesitant. "Happy birthday, Mr. Cole." He frowned. He hadn't told anyone it was his birthday, not his staff, not even his assistant. Slowly, he opened the card. Inside was a child's drawing, a stick figure of a man holding a little boy's hand, both smiling under a big sun. Below it, in a child's scrawl, were the words, "Happy birthday, Daddy. I love you." Ethan's throat tightened. He turned the page and saw a short note in neat handwriting. "Lily's. Noah drew this for you. He said he wanted to surprise you, but he didn't know how. I helped him make a card so he could say what he's been too shy to tell you, that he misses you. He talks about you every day. You may not notice it, but you're his hero, and for what it's worth, you're doing better than you think. Lily." He stood there for a long moment, card in hand, unable to move. For years, he had convinced himself that being a good father meant providing money, education, security. But here was proof that what his son truly needed wasn't wealth or comfort. It was time, love, and presence. When Ethan went to check on Noah, he found the boy asleep, clutching a small stuffed bear Lily had sewn herself. He sat on the edge of the bed, brushing the boy's hair aside. The guilt hit him like a wave. He had missed too many moments, birthdays, bedtime stories, laughs that would never return. That night, Ethan couldn't sleep. The card kept replaying in his mind, not just the words, but the sincerity behind them. Lily hadn't written it for attention. She wasn't trying to impress him. She was simply helping a child express love. And somehow, that purity pierced through the walls he'd built around his heart. The next morning, he noticed Lily was quieter than usual. She avoided his eyes and seemed distracted. As she packed Noah's backpack, she mentioned softly that it was her last week with them. Her mother's condition had worsened, and she needed to move back to her hometown to take care of her. Ethan felt something twist inside him. The thought of the house without her warmth unsettled him more than he expected. But he said nothing, only nodded stiffly the way he always did. The days passed slowly. On her last evening, Lily tucked Noah in, whispered goodnight, and began gathering her things. Ethan walked in from his office, watching her silently from the doorway. There was a small box of her belongings, a couple of books, an old phone charger, and a photo Noah had drawn of the three of them together. When she turned and saw him, she gave a polite smile. "I just wanted to thank you for everything, Mr. Cole. Working here has meant a lot to me. I hope Noah keeps smiling." Ethan wanted to say something, anything, but the words stuck in his throat. He just nodded again. "Safe travels, Lily." And just like that, she was gone. Weeks turned into months. Ethan tried to move on, but something in him had shifted. He began spending more time with Noah, picking him up from school, cooking breakfast, even trying to tell bedtime stories, though they rarely went as planned. But every time Noah laughed, Ethan saw a glimpse of Lily, her influence, her kindness, her gentle way of bringing light into their lives. Then, one snowy afternoon, as Ethan was sorting through old mail, he found another envelope tucked inside a book Lily used to read to Noah, The Velveteen Rabbit. Inside was a letter. It wasn't addressed to him directly, but curiosity got the better of him. "Dear Mom, I'm doing my best out here. Some days are hard, but taking care of Noah reminds me why kindness still matters. Mr. Cole doesn't smile much, but I think he's lonely. People like him forget that hearts need time too. I just hope someday he learns to love again. Not because he's lonely, but because he deserves it. Love, Lily." Ethan sat there motionless. She had written this privately, not for him, not for praise, just an honest letter from her heart. And it broke something open inside him. Over the following weeks, he tried to find her, called the agency, searched online, even checked hospitals in her hometown. But there was no response. Until one spring morning, a letter arrived. It was from Lily. She apologized for the sudden departure and explained that her mother was now stable, but she couldn't return to New York. Life was simpler back home, though harder financially. She wrote that she still missed Noah and wished them both happiness. Ethan read that letter over and over again. For the first time, he realized it wasn't just gratitude he felt toward her. It was love. Quiet, patient, and unexpected love that had grown between the lines of ordinary days. So he did something he never thought he'd do. He cleared a schedule, booked a flight, and drove for hours through quiet countryside roads until he reached a small, worn-out house with white paint peeling off the porch. Lily was outside, hanging laundry, her hair tied up, wearing the same calm smile that had once lit up his penthouse. She froze when she saw him. He stepped closer, heart racing. "You forgot something," he said, holding out the birthday card, the one she'd left months ago. "You changed my life with this." Her eyes glistened. She looked at the card, then back at him. "I never meant to." "I know," he interrupted softly. "That's why it mattered." In that quiet afternoon light, surrounded by the scent of rain and wildflowers, Ethan told her everything. How her kindness had healed the distance between him and his son. How he'd learned what truly mattered, and how, without even realizing it, she'd become the missing piece in both their lives. Lily's hands trembled as he spoke. Her heart caught between disbelief and overwhelming emotion. She had spent her life giving to her mother, to Noah, to others, never expecting anything in return. And now, for the first time, someone was giving her something she'd stopped believing in, love that saw her, respected her, and wanted her not for what she did, but for who she was. That day didn't end with grand gestures or cinematic confessions. It ended simply, with Ethan helping her hang the last few clothes, laughing softly when he got soap bubbles on his shirt. But something changed forever between them. Months later, they returned to New York together. Lily not as the nanny, but as part of the family. The apartment that once felt cold and echoing now had warmth again. There were flowers in the kitchen, music in the mornings, and laughter at the dinner table. Noah was happier than ever, and Ethan had finally found what money could never buy: peace. On his next birthday, Noah handed him a new card, this time drawn by both him and Lily. It showed 3 stick figures holding hands under a big sun with a tiny heart above their heads. Ethan smiled through tears. Sometimes, the smallest acts, a forgotten card, a kind note, carry the greatest power. Because love doesn't always arrive in grand moments. Sometimes it's hidden in simple words written by someone who believes in you when you don't believe in yourself. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe. It helps spread kindness and hope to more people who need a reminder that love and second chances are real. Special request, before you go, comment below. I believe kindness can change lives. Your words might just inspire someone today.